At this point, we're ready to get that follow button to work. This is right here if we go to, say, this profile page. So here's the unfollow button, and similarly, we've got like a follow button here. Yeah, so we want to get these to work. You certainly have to be logged in to use these, so let's put some access control on the relationships controller. Of course, that involves first generating it, so let's do that. Oops. And we can open up the test. And as is often the case with our create and destroy protection, we're going to assert that there's no difference in a particular count, in this case the relationship count, and also assert that we're redirected to the login URL. So test create should require logged in user. Where did we do this before? We've been doing test should redirect the thing, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to say test should redirect create when not logged in. Doesn't really matter, but it's nice to be consistent here. And we can see here our assert no difference. Assert no difference in relationship count. We'll post to create. And the same thing for destroy. Oh, I forgot the redirect that, didn't I? Assert redirected to root URL, or no, login URL. So this is delete destroy, and it needs an ID to make the route properly. It doesn't matter which ID because we're not actually going to be destroying anything, but it needs to be a real ID to get the route to work. So let's pull something out of the fixtures. Relationships of 1 will work. Save that and see if we're green. Nope, there's something wrong here. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, did the same thing here. Should redirect destroy. 2 errors. Right. This is good. It should be red. We don't have any access control on this controller yet, so let's do the same thing we did before. We can add or not add these actions actually, but I like to add them now. Create and destroy. Save it should go from errors to a different kind of error. So it was before an error because the controllers or the actions weren't there. Now it's because the templates aren't there. So at this point we can put in this filter. Before action, logged in user, only create and destroy. Of course, there are only 2 actions here, so we could just leave this blank. In fact, I'm going to do that. We don't need to specify it. These are the only actions we're going to have, so we can just protect the whole thing. There we go, and now we're correctly redirecting to the login URL. And now let's check to see if these are working. I'm going to put in a debugger in the create action. So this is if you follow a user. All right, so let's go over here, and this is going to create a new relationship, so that should have stopped it. In the debugger, there it is. Let's look at params. You can see params of followed ID. That's what's going to give us the user to follow. So this is working. That means our little form here, this follow form, actually gave us the right kind of form to create a new user. And I was right, we could get rid of that ID stuff. We just need current user.activeRelationships.build to create a new relationship object. And then this hidden field is what created this params of followed ID. So we can do this. Right. So we can fill this out now. Just do this. So what is involved in creating this relationship? Well, we need to pull out the user. And then we want the current user to follow that user. And we're guaranteed to have a current user because of this before action here, the before filter. So current user.follow user, and then redirect back to the same profile. Redirect to user. Do Control D to release the debugger here. See what happens. That worked. Look at that. The followers incremented. And now this user should be one of the followed users, right? Following here. There it is. Macy Gleason is on the list. Of course, unfollow doesn't work. Let's get that working. Put the debugger in again. So now, params of ID, it's right here. Let's look that up. It's a relationship. And there it is. This is the relationship between follower ID 1 and followed ID 2. Recall from the diagram. These are the two columns, so this is follower ID 1, followed ID 2. In fact, it's exactly what we have here. It's great. So all we need to do is destroy that relationship. There are actually two ways to do it. Let's go here, get rid of the debugger. Save this. So in here we want to do, well, there are a couple things we could do. We could actually find that relationship like this. This is one way to do it. We could do this, and then we could destroy it, and then redirect to relationship dot followed. I think this will work. Let's take a look. Yeah, that worked. But it's not symmetric with the create action. I like the idea of unfollowing the user. Remember, we have an unfollow helper, or unfollow method on the user model. So instead of doing this, we can do this. I think this is just slightly clearer. We can invoke the followed here, dot followed, and then say current user dot unfollow. We need to bind this to a user, so user equals that, and then redirect to user. Same thing, so if you click this twice, it should just toggle. And there it is, it's working.